What is going on, YouTube people? Neo Cards and Comics here for what should be, other than maybe a live stream, the last and final kind of look back at the 2023 National. I did the daily updates. I just kind of wanted to take a little more macro look at some stuff and touched on a few things that we haven't quite discussed yet. You know, could parts of the show have been better? Yes. Was it hot? Some days, yes. Crazy crowds. I know a lot of people have mentioned this in other videos. It felt like a lot more kids. It really did feel like there was a lot more kids. I know eBay and Market Movers were running a kids trade zone on the show floor. Every time I walked past that thing, it was absolutely packed. So that was all really good to see. We haven't really talked much on-site grading to this point. A couple of things that I liked, some things that I didn't like. Generally speaking, I think all the on-site grading booths did pretty well. All of them were busy. Now, some of them it was a little trickier to tell how busy because of the different systems that they had in place. Now, I did not grade anything on site with SGC or PSA, and I kind of did some stuff with Beckett, but not really. CGC, I did do a drop-off submission with. SGC's booth was always pretty busy. I talked to some people over there. It sounds like they had a pretty good show. Same with CGC. PSA, they did, I think, some sort of virtual queuing system based off of what I could tell. Once again, I didn't have firsthand experience with it. But that seemed to be working pretty well. I never saw massive lines over there, and I know they took in a monster load of cards. Beckett, they were always super busy. They had a long line, but man, can we get into 2023? Still using paper forms and no sort of virtual line queue or anything like that. And like I said, I don't know how PSAs worked, and I don't exactly know what SGC was doing. I could speak to CGC because I dropped cards off there, and maybe the other places had systems like this. I know Beckett did not, but CGC's was really smooth. You walked up, they had about, I don't know, maybe a dozen stations to fill out paperwork if you didn't have paperwork filled out ahead of time. And you didn't have to wait. They had tablets set up, and you logged in with the tablet, you put your cell phone number in there, and then they texted you when to come back to fill out your paperwork. So you didn't have to, the only line you had to wait in was like maybe a couple of people after you filled your paperwork out to actually physically hand your cards in, but it was never more than like 3 or 4 people deep because of the way the line queuing system was working. So from a getting cards graded and not really having to wait in a lot of lines, I thought they knocked it out of the park. Like I said, I didn't do on-site with PSA and SGC, so theirs could have been equally as good. If you did any on-site grading, in the comments down below, please throw it down there, what information you had or what experience you had with the various companies that maybe you on-site graded with, good, bad, or indifferent. But the CGC experience, like I said, that's the one I had hands-on with. Very, very smooth. I filled out the tablet. I walked around for about 10 or 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, got a text, said, hey, come on back. Did the drop-off. I dropped off Wednesday afternoon, fairly early in the afternoon on Wednesday, like after the show floor was open. And I got my cards back, I think Friday morning, so a little over a full day. So not too bad. Or Friday afternoon, maybe it was. I think it was Friday after lunch. So not bad at all. Very happy with how that all worked. And the thing that I didn't realize, I'll keep this in mind for next year, they were $20 a card for end of show, but I'm an elite member and my elite discount worked. So I graded 5 cards on site, got them back in a day for $80. That seems pretty good. I think I paid like 16 bucks a card or whatever that maths out to be. But I was really thrilled with that. I did not realize that the elite membership would work. I didn't really put 2 and 2 together there. Maybe it was obvious and I just wasn't thinking about it, but I just assumed that wouldn't work for on-site grading at the National. So keep that in mind for next year if you need stuff back quick. I heard SGC was turning cards around for end of show within about a day. I know PSA cut things off around Saturday. But like I said, Beckett, you guys got to get a virtual line queue. That line was long, and to me, I'd heard, once again, please let me know if you waited in the Beckett line, I had heard that it moved slow. Like people were in line for like an hour, 2 hours. And while we're talking about lines, the other thing that, and I don't know how you figure this out, but Topps and Panini, or at least Topps, once again, I don't have firsthand experience with picking up Panini silver packs or how the black box line went. So if you have any experience with that, let me know in the comments down below. I saw long lines in the Panini booth. I assume it was for one of those two things. The Topps wrapper redemption thing, they got to figure out a better way for that as well. I don't know what that entails. Someone smarter than me can figure it out, but they're a big company. They're smart. I feel like they could do a better system than that. There was multiple problems with it. One, the fact that they ran out of packs on Wednesday by like 5:30, or by like 4:30. They ran out of packs an hour into the show being open on Wednesday. But you didn't know that until after you bought your stuff. So I went at like 4:30. I was like, oh, it's plenty early enough. I'll wait in a little bit of a line. This will be good. Bought a bunch of boxes, took it over there, and they were gone already. So now I got to haul the boxes back to the room and haul them back down to the show floor the next day, because you have to turn the boxes in. They have to open them up for you to get the wrapper redemption packs. Then on Wednesday, the show floor opens officially for VIPs at 9:30 and the general folk at 10 a.m. People were lining up at the Topps booth at 8:30. They didn't start handing out packs until 10:30 or 11. I don't understand why they waited. I would love to know the logic behind why they waited to hand out packs. If someone has inside info on that, feel free to DM me anonymously. I don't care. I'm just genuinely curious why that worked that way. They had a line a mile long. I posted a reel on it on IG. It took me like 3 minutes to walk the length of the line. And I think that line ran a couple of hours. But why let the line build up? Just start handing them out right away in the morning. I don't know. Or at least once VIPs open up at 9:30. Maybe they didn't want people to abuse it. I don't really know. There's got to be a better system. The other thing that you see happen there, and I think a good way to crack down on this would be do something with the distributors or the people selling the wax. Because what happens is, and I mean, to each their own, whatever, and I get it, it's smart. Stores bring in wax from home. So you could see they had, their boxes from their shops or whatever. They still had shipping labels on the outside because Topps doesn't know where you bought them at. You're just going through the line. They're opening up the case or the loose boxes. Some of them are loose boxes. There's no way to know whether you bought those in the show floor or not. They're just ripping the cellophane off and off you go. So shops are buying it at their, allocated price or whatever, taking it in there, having the wrappers ripped, and then getting the silver pack or redemption packs and selling those and basically having the wax for almost completely free, or a lot of it free, depending on exactly what they're opening. So it'd be nice if there was a way to kind of police that. I feel like the intention of that promotion is for wax bought in the actual convention center, not for stuff outside, but to each their own. They did have it limit 12 per person, which is basically about a case of stuff, but people work around that. There's like one person. They got literally a cart full of like 14 cases, and they got their whole family, their extended family, and their sister's extended family all lined up with them. It's like the Brady Bunch came through. So whatever, I just feel like there's a better way for that they could queue it or do it in batches, or maybe just do something with the dealers directly where you don't have to wait in the line and you just get the pack straight from them. Like I said, I don't really know the best system for that, but I feel like they are better off doing that, doing something different. There's feels like there's a better way to handle that situation. Other than that, overall, someone asked me to like kind of rate the National. I think this was probably like an 8 out of 10. It could have been a little bit higher if they figured out the air conditioning earlier on in the week. And to be quite honest, I don't know if there was anything solving that situation. The problem earlier in the week is the doors are all open to set up. So it leads to all that humidity getting in the building. And then Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, it was ridiculously hot. Saturday it was fine in there. I'm not gonna say it was perfect, but it was tolerable. They had the air conditioning cranked in the morning, and it had it under control. The other big thing that I would like to see, and this is actually something that they posted already. In fact, I'll pull it up real quick. So this was shared on Twitter. This is the floor plan for the 2024 National at the IX Center in Cleveland. My biggest gripe with the Chicago setup was it felt very haphazard. You had a dealer section, then you'd have a massive corporate section, and then you'd have some dealers, and then you'd have the Breakers Pavilion, and then more dealers, and then like a second corporate section, and then the TriStar booth. It just felt very broken up, and it was like very maze-like in certain sections of that building and kind of hard to navigate and really get your bearings. The IX Center in Cleveland, you can see it here. It is just one big, massive room. And I can already tell right now, I love this layout way more. You can see they have two corporate areas, one here, one here. Here's the Case Break Pavilion. Here's TriStar down here. Here's PSA. I assume corporate, this will be the other grading companies and things like that. And then just this massive swath of dealer tables. Like, this will be much easier to just say, cool, okay, I'm going to start here and just work my way down this row and then loop back and back and back and back. You know what I mean? Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It was very hard in Chicago to kind of get your bearings. This will be much, much easier to have a general understanding kind of where you're at in the room, where Chicago, that was pretty tricky, to be honest with you. I don't know when it's going to go up, but I'm going to do a video specifically on the Cleveland National because you're going to want to get a jump on that if you're planning on attending. I haven't been in the IX Center in a while. I have never attended a national in Cleveland, but I know the area well enough to help you boys and girls out and lock in travel plans sooner and just kind of give you kind of the lay of the land on how things are going to kind of be different compared to Atlantic City and Chicago the last couple of years. But like I said, overall, really good show. It was a good time. I bought a lot of cards. I missed out on a lot of stuff. You know, one of the big things that I really whiffed on this year was the trade nights. I went to Card Collector 2s and then missed pretty much all the pop-up trade nights. Whether I was tired or wanted to pace myself or got caught up in other stuff, and that's all perfectly fine. There's kind of no way to see everything. Friday night, I had planned on really laying into the Lowe's trade night, and that was the night that they kicked everybody out. Saturday night, the Lowe's had a trade night where they rented out the ballroom, but it was an hour wait to get in, and I just didn't feel like dealing with that. Little did I know, one popped up at the Hyatt, and I just hadn't heard about it until the morning. Otherwise, I may have actually gone over there to try to get into some stuff. But that was the one regret that I had, was just not getting active into a trade night. I could have did it Wednesday, but I was trying to pace myself, and I did pace myself much better this show. I was a train wreck at the end of Atlantic City. Part of that could have been because I got COVID on the last day and was super sick. And this year, I definitely was cognizant of going back to the room and taking an afternoon break. Every day at lunch, I've talked about this before in videos. I think it's really, really key, at least for me anyways, in my old manness, to get off the show floor for about an hour or so in the middle of the day and kind of reset yourself. With as hot as it was in there on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I think I took 4 showers the one day. I would go back to the room and take a quick shower just to rinse off and change my clothes and then head back out onto the show floor. But I think that really saved me from not killing myself at the end of the week. My legs still felt pretty good at the end of the week. My voice went a little bit, but that's always going to happen. But I really do think sneaking off that show floor for a little bit in the middle of the day and not going full bore 24/7, 365 is the smart play for this thing, at least for us older gentlemen or aging ladies and gentlemen. But as always, the social stuff was the best. The dinner with Steve and Ham at Carmine's was really, really fun. We had a great time. The lunch that we all kind of hung out with on the show floor on Saturday was great. Some of the corporate stuff that I went to, a Beckett event, and then there was another cards and cocktails thing that I went to, was great. Filmington's thing, as always, was great. And that's honestly, sure, you remember buying certain cards or cutting certain deals, but the stories from the after hours stuff are the things that you really remember. Like the first national in Chicago, I'll never forget that Lowe's trade night experience with Steve and Dustin, and just how chaotic it was in there. And a few other people were at that as well, and just people grabbing tables and kicking doors, the conference rooms open. And then the AC National, the legendary walk for pizza with Flipping Steve. And then this past year, once again, the Carmine's dinner will stand out as kind of like a really fun little event. The Filmington party, as always, is something that sticks out. But it's the social stuff, it's the hangout stuff, it's the memories that you remember more than, oh yeah, I got that card for a good deal and flipped it for $50 an hour later or whatever. You'll remember some of that stuff, but that's not the stuff that really stays with you or that you kind of reminisce about as you move on to the Nationals in the future. So Cleveland National next year, my own backyard. I'll definitely probably just drive it every day. It's about a good 45 minutes to 60-minute drive every day for me, but just saving the costs on the hotel room, which means I will need to adjust my plan because I will not have a hotel room to sneak back to in the middle of the day, but I will have my car on site. So we will dive more into the Cleveland National maybe late this week or early next week. I have a boatload of content already recorded to go up this week for other different things, including the Topps Chrome project. So that's all I got for you, boys and girls. As always, if you swung by and said hello at the show, appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching. We will catch you, boys and girls, on the next one. Peace.